And thank you for mentioning my daughter. I'm actually right in front of her altar right now. So she passed away 3 days after she was born. And she taught me what true love really is. And I'm here to share that the Jesus I believe in is a liberator. I also believe the Bible can be an instrument of reconciliation instead of the way the religious right uses it as an instrument of hate. As the People's Bible says, biblical reconciliation implies friendship with God and each other, radical change and the transformation of a relationship or of a society and the restoration of harmony. We are called to work as catalysts for inclusive community, peace among nations, and social transformation in society to work for justice. And the only reason why I know this, Jesus, is because of my parents. So I thank you, Pastor Moore, for calling us together in the name of the God of our fathers and mothers. Because honestly, I was kind of intimidated about today because there's been so many amazing people who have shared, such amazing thoughts and words for us. And I'm like, who am I to share? Like, what do I have to contribute? And then I remembered, well, I am my mother and my father's daughter, and I am the mother of Adelita and Gloria. So I do have things to share. And I truly believe that we will win and turn things around to wake up from this bad dream that we're all in right now. See, because I feel like we are living in someone else's dream where everything is upside down. Why is it upside down? Because of racism, because of capitalism, and settler colonialism turned it upside down. And so, I work for an environmental organization, and it's hard to do this work as a person of color in that sphere, because the mainstream environmental movement speaks of the environment as if people are separate from it, when we know that we are part of it, right? So this dream, which is actually a nightmare for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, we, together with our woke working class allies and accomplices, know that we also have our own dreams, our own imaginations, where everyone is inside the circle, right? Where we don't leave anybody out. So Dr. Ralph Armbruster Sandoval is chair of Chicano studies at UCSB. And he's the first one that taught me like the words for liberation theology, because all along I knew that this was the kind of Jesus I believed in. And when you get to university, you get to know what all the terms are associated to like our realities, right? So I asked him, I let him know that I was going to be with you all today. And I said, what should I quote from the Bible? Because he knows me and he knows my faith. And so he said, Mary Magnificat. So I'm going to read this part from it. He hath put down the mighty from their seat, and hath exalted the humble and the meek. He hath filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he hath sent empty away. He, remembering his mercy, hath holpen his servant Israel, as he promised to our forefathers, Abraham, and his seed forever. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. So I say this because we know this is in the Bible, yet this is not what we hear quoted very often, right? When we hear folks from the religious right speak, and to have seen that vice presidential debate was a trip for me, because, Mike Pence, he used the Green New Deal as if it was a dirty word. When we know that the Green New Deal can help us have a just transition away from fossil fuels, as well as a just transition from the prison industrial complex. The Green New Deal can encompass all of our dreams if we really believe in our dreams. But I think the government and other entities try to teach us that our dreams and our visions are not worth it, are not worth pursuing, right? Because every day we're so caught up in how am I going to feed my kid? How am I going to keep paying the mortgage? How am I going to keep paying the rent? And so those things distract us from our dreams. But I believe in the beauty of all of us, and I believe that we will win. So something that Food and Water Action has started doing, along with the Climate Justice Network, is house meetings. I don't know if you've heard of this term before, but it's a tool that the labor movement has used a lot for getting to know members and getting folks together on the same goals. And the reason why we're doing this is because a lot of times it's very intimidating for us, who are people of color or who may not speak English, to go to a government building where you don't know if there's going to be translation provided, where you don't know if there's going to be childcare provided, if you have your kids. And so we're having these meetings in people's homes where people are comfortable. And of course, the pandemic has changed this a little bit so that now these meetings are done over Zoom the way we're talking now. And we're hopeful that when the pandemic is over, we'll be able to see each other again in person. And so in these house meetings, we get to find out what are your daily work, conditions that you live in. What are the things that you see that need changing, so that we can develop a policy from the ground up to present to the County Board of Supervisors on what we see our regional Green New Deal being like, right? Because either there's the politicians who use the Green New Deal as a dirty word, or there's also the politicians where it's like the new sexy thing and they want to put their name on it. But if that policy is not grounded in the needs of the people who are living in our communities, then it's going to be hollow and it's not going to reflect our dreams. And so it's time to go back to being stewards of the land, the way that the Chumash have been for so many years, right? And I forgot to say in the beginning, I acknowledge that we are on Chumash land and that we are all guests here. And we need to go back to being in that right relationship with the earth, right? And that's really why I do all this work. And I just think, yes, and it's unceded land. So I just give so much thanks to the Chumash people. I give so much thanks to my ancestors, to my parents, who without them, I wouldn't have a faith tradition. And it's a trip because if I remember when I was a kid, the first thing that I ever wanted to be was a priest. But as you all know, in Catholicism, priests cannot be women, or women cannot be priests. And people would tell me, well, you could be a nun. And there are amazing nuns out there like Sister Prejean and many others. But I wanted access to a congregation every Sunday. So, I ended up being a community organizer, and I feel like in a lot of ways the job is very similar. So I just I'm so thankful that I finally got to do this after after wanting to do this since I was a kid. And I am giving this talk in dedication to Adelita, my firstborn daughter. And everything that I do now is to make her and her sister Gloria proud. And I am sorry when I fail. Please let me know if I ever do something that is harmful to anybody, because I would want to repair that harm. And I feel like that's how we should all be, right? We should all be humble. And, as we are trying to do good, sometimes we mess up. So let's just be grateful with each other, and just give each other love, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to keep us together, and that's what's going to turn all this around. All this crap that's happening right now, we're going to get through it. I really believe we can. And I have to say this quote from Dolores Huerta. People think it's Cesar Chavez, but it's actually Dolores Huerta. Sí se puede. And I see my sister Simone here from Healing Justice. Thank you for joining us. It's so good to see you.
So is that all?
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to be able to engage in a
Yeah.
discussion.
And thank you for leaving time for that. We're going to do that. We'll take a moment and then we'll come back to you. Um, so everybody join again your small group.
Morning.
Christopher, how's it going?
It's going all right. I'm feeding whiny children at the moment, so that's why I'm on mute and video off. I hear you.
That's a very natural sound.
Yeah.
So what are your takeaways, Chris?
I got a COVID test this morning and I was quite late. I only heard the last few minutes, so I'll just listen.
Oh, okay. Well, it was rich. How about you, John?
It was the same for me. I was kind of late getting to the conversation as well, so I'm sort of here listening, trying to get as much info as I can.
I think this is the latecomers group because there's Simone, and I think she came on late, right?
Yeah, like really late. Like I probably heard just a few minutes, but I was like, wait, I'm fine. I want to be able to join because I'm usually not at home and now I want to see you all. But yeah, sorry. So I don't have a ton to offer, but knowing Amarosa and knowing Pastor Moore, I'm sure it was beautiful.
You're doing okay back there in Washington, D.C.?
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying. It's been a lot. It's been a lot adjusting to a different culture and challenges and also trying to just listen to how people are organizing, but just living here.
Yeah.
I'm loving Howard though, so that.
Did you ever meet Anitra?
I didn't. I sent her some emails and she was super responsive actually, but we haven't like met in person or anything.
Okay.
I was gonna ask how's school.
Did you hear that, Simone?
Yeah, it's good. Right. Yeah, I did. I said it's good. We're just in midterms right now, so.
Wow, that was fast.
Been a little bit stressful, but.
Seems like you just got there.
Yeah, for real.
I know. I mean, I think they planned it faster because they didn't want people on campus after Thanksgiving, so it started kind of early. And now they're like, okay, it's all done. Bye. Don't give us COVID.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but of course, anyways, stuff is going to shut down again because of the White House event. And like at first, those people weren't being counted in DC's numbers, but now they are. And so now the city's like, I'm like, we were just going to reopen again.
Yeah, living in DC is a ground zero for super spreader events.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
But how are you all? John, Chris, Pastor Moore.
I'm good. I just started working again. I'm at the Harbor Restaurant on the pier. So that's pretty exciting. I'm downstairs now, so it's a lot more professional.
Good for you. So you see that as an upgrade then?
Oh, definitely an upgrade, 100%. So I'm
You
hoping to move to a server as fast as possible because that's when I'll really start to begin to be comfortable.
you deserve it.
Thank you. How you been?
We're good. We're very gratefully good, but we're also being very cautious. So,
Good.
I don't know. Christopher, did you have symptoms? Is that why you got tested?
No, we've been postponing a trip to see my sister and her wife and her foster child since March. Like they were
Okay.
supposed to come here the mid-March weekend that everything blew up.
Yeah.
And so we're finally going to meet them. We're driving and meeting them in Arizona, like because
Yeah.
they live in Texas. So all of us are getting texted before we go for the trip.
Wise.
Wow, that's really exciting though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
may everybody do it that way.
Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why.
Good for you. Well,
Looking forward to seeing them. It's been a long, long time, almost 2 years.
wow.
Wow.
Hey, John.
Oh my goodness. How you doing?
Pretty good. Are we in
I
a new
was,
chat
Yeah.
room?
Yeah, no, everybody's back now, I think.
oh, right on.
So, Ana Rosa, well, I mean, first, Matt, take us to the next place.
In our group, I'm curious. There was a question of wanting to know more about Food and Water Watch, but I'm curious. I know you've built a lot on the legacy of those that have come before you. You mentioned Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez, in the farm workers movement, and how that connects with Food and Water Watch, and how you're deepening that legacy and connecting with the Mestizo movement and indigenous. The community here on the coastal coast with the Chumash. And so what is Food and Water Watch, and how does it connect to this beautiful image of the Green New Deal that you brought to us?
Yeah, so Food and Water Action is a national, actually international organization, but here within the US, we are based in Washington, D.C., in California. We have offices in Los Angeles and Ventura. We had an office in Santa Barbara at La Casa de la Raza that unfortunately, because of the pandemic, just got closed. But yeah, we're still here in Ventura. And we work to fight climate change and to, fight against any new oil development because we really think we only have 10 years to turn this all around. And otherwise, our kids are not going to have a very good future ahead of them, and to fight for policies like the Green New Deal. So, and for environmental justice issues in general.
My name is David, and I'm a transplant from New England. And many years ago, I was peripherally involved with a small organization in New Jersey called Food and Water Watch. I wonder if they were the same.
Yes, it's the same one. We have offices in New Jersey, New York, Florida, Iowa, and several others. I can't memorize them all, sorry. But yes, that is the same organization.
Huh. Maybe I didn't appreciate that the group I was involved with, which as they said was quite small, was part of a larger movement.
Yeah, so we have Food and Water Watch, which is our educational arm, and we have Food and Water Action, which is our political arm. So that's why it might sound a little bit different, because Food and Water Action is kind of a new part of our organization.
We were involved with fighting against a bizarre scheme to irradiate food. And I got involved in my capacity as a member of the nutrition department at Boston University.
Yeah, we also fight like against factory farms and for access to clean water. So it's a variety of issues we work on. Food is definitely food safety, food quality, food access. And during the pandemic, we were also fighting to make sure that people didn't get their water shut off around the country due to lack of payment or anything like that.
Ana Rosa, to what do you attribute your hopefulness that we will get through the nightmare?
Because we have amazing people fighting for change, and I just believe that Jesus is a liberating God, and it's not for us to wait until heaven, until we die to get to that place. It's up to us to create those conditions here on earth for everybody, because nobody is more, nobody deserves to have that more than another person. We're all equal. And so it's not fair, because capitalism it's really a few people win and everybody else loses.
Yeah.
I sense something from your healing journey early on with your daughter, and how that connects with your healing perspective now, and the balance that you have with this liberatory God. And perhaps the liberatory God is a healing God as well too. Could you maybe give us an image of what our path of healing to liberation could look like?
Yeah, grief is a crazy topic, because I feel like in this country we don't talk about grief very much, if at all. And so it seems like people think, okay, you mourn for a few months and then you get over it and then everything's fine. But no, like this pain and hole that I have in my heart, like it's gonna be there forever. And for a long time, I was actually very mad, upset with God. And I couldn't go to church. I couldn't pray. Whenever I would try to pray, I would end up yelling at God. So, I mean, it's taken years to be able to get back in this place where I could be at church. So it's only because of this, actually, this church, that I've been able to come back to God. And it has been a healing, it has been a healing journey. But yeah, I had to give myself patience, because I'm like, am I just going to be mad at God forever? And, because God has also given me a lot. So I also don't want to be ungrateful for what the blessings that I have been given. But it's just, I imagined a future with my daughter, with both of my daughters, right? I didn't imagine that things would be this way. So it's also acknowledging the fact that, like, in these fights that I'm in, which are several, that my daughter is like helping me through them,
She's there every day. She's there everywhere with you, and I love that so much.
Yeah, I actually I always have an image of her, like, wherever I go.
Well, Ana Rosa, would you pray for us, please?
Wow, I have never been asked to do this in public before. This is a lot of pressure. Dear God, please unite us and help us believe in the strength of our visions and our dreams, so that we can get through this nightmare and fight for justice, to fight for peace, to fight for Black lives to matter in every single community across the earth, for us to remember the Indigenous people whose lands we are on, Indigenous people who are still with us today. Help us to fight for economic justice. Help us to fight for racial justice. Help us to fight so that all parents can have hope for their children's future. Amen.
I have to say that, were you going to say something, Matt?
I was like, yeah, if that's your first one, then man, we got more coming.
I have to say, and I think I'm not alone, but I really feel empowered by you taking this time to present to us today. So thank you for your sermon. And we're going to have to do this again, as Matt was just saying. Yeah, this is just the beginning.
I was saying in the breakout group that maybe for one of those Thursday meetings, we could do a Green New Deal house meeting in church.
Yeah. Why not? Let's do it.
Okay.
Can we do it this Thursday?
Yeah. I mean, unless you already had a topic thought out.
Well, I did have a topic, but this is important. So
okay,
let's do it.
Sounds
all
good.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, look, everybody, have a delightful rest of your Sunday. Oh, communion. Whatever you have handy. This is our way of expressing our need for one another. Not just our need, but our desire for one another. I see Matt put in chat, house meetings are biblical. Let me just make this observation. For 200 years after the church was born, they didn't have buildings. They met in homes and in cemeteries, and in the city of Rome, they met in catacombs. They didn't have Zoom, so they met in person. But they were not building reliant. They were people reliant. They were relational reliant, and that's what communion is. It's about us. It's us expressing our interdependency, and so we turn our hearts to the Jesus that Ana Rosa was talking about, who says, "This is my body, which was broken for you, and this is my blood of the covenant. And as often as you drink it, you proclaim my suffering, my death until I come." Would you eat and drink at this time? Such a refreshing presence. God is with us. We're so truly blessed. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And if you want to stick around and shout out to somebody, you can do that too.
Professor Ralph, yes, it was recorded. You can find it on Dr. David and More. It's a stream there as a recorded Facebook Live.
Very nice credits, David.
Yeah, I like that. I'd like to ask Ana Rosa, who did such a beautiful, Your beauty in our midst is so refreshing. I'd like to ask you about the hydroponic food towers. If you are involved with any groups that are growing food in the hydroponic towers.
Yep. I think she's
Ani,
gone.
yeah, she left in the middle of the song. So I'm connected with her. David and I are connected with her. So, or she'll be on Thursday. So we can ask her then.
Right. Okay.
But I'm also connected with some folks in town that are doing the hydroponic food towers. So
Yeah.
I can get you information on that.
No, I am too. The
okay.
Pilgrim Terrace. I don't know if you know about them. Good.
Oh, never mind. She is still on. Ana Rosa, are you there?
Yeah, actually, La Casa de la Raza has a partnership with the Pilgrim Terrace Foundation. So yeah, definitely.
It's a great idea. I mean, I worked with them for a while, and you can grow food on your porch. I mean, it's wonderful. I'm hoping that more